today we are going to learn how to use the pen tool using Photopea. And I first want to apologize. There's most of the time Photoshop and Photopea work really close in hand in how we are able to do our lessons. And there was a few bugs that we had to work out. And I think there was an update that Photopea did. And so in yesterday and today's assignments, they just kind of bombed for the remote learners. So I'm going to show you some basics. The basic demonstration is a little different than than the in-person learners, but it's not going to cause a problem for you guys at all. Okay, I have provided you a basic shapes PSD document, and when we open it up, our background layer has 4 images on it. I want to use this as a template layer, so what I want to do is I want to lock this layer so that I don't accidentally apply anything to this layer. Now, in Photoshop and Photopea, the pen tool is the letter P, and it's located over here in your toolbar, and it looks like a little calligraphy pen. And in Photoshop, we would come up here and choose paths, and we would make our paths following a different kind of structure system. But for what we're going to do in Photopea, we want to have it on shape, and we want to have a stroke on but no fill. And I like to make my stroke a really bright color so that I can see what I'm working with. And for this demonstration, I want you to choose bright green, and I want you to make it 15 points. Okay, so the basics of making a path with a pen tool is we're going to click our mouse, and that creates an anchor point. Then when I click again, it's going to make a new anchor point, and it makes a straight line. And I continue to click. If I'm making straight lines, all I have to do is just click my mouse. It's pretty easy. So it makes straight lines. The little connectors at the corners, those are anchor points, and those are straight anchor points. And in the middle, the line is what we call a path. Now, if I asked you on the test if this thing that we just drew is a line, even though it's crooked, we would definitely say yes, because it has a beginning and an end, and they don't touch. Now I've created my first path, and I want to hit escape so that I can start drawing a new path. If I don't hit escape and I click over here, my path will just continue from where I previously started. So this time we're going to click, and we know that that makes a straight line. Now the next click that we're going to do is a little tricky. I'm going to come up here, you see where the top of my mouse is, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, and while I'm holding down my mouse, I'm going to drag it to the side. Okay, this is called a Bezier curve, and in the Bezier, it depends on how you where you're at, is what they call it. So what that does is that creates a bend in the line. Now, when I dragged the line out, you see it created 2 handlebars, just like you would have handlebars on a bicycle. And I can bend those handlebars and turn the handlebars to adjust how much my line curves. Now, if I see a handlebar right here, I know that the next time I click, my pen tool is going to create a curve. It's going to make a reflection of what I just drew. So I click right here, and it finishes out that curve. Now, on my anchor point that I'm currently on, it doesn't have a handlebar. So if it doesn't have a handlebar, I know that my next anchor point will create a straight path. Okay, so let's try this a little bit different. I'm going to click down here this time, and I'm going to drag. And now when I click up here, I can drag. I had 2 handles, and it allowed me to kind of get an S-curve or a reflection of that first bend. Now I see the handlebars up here, so when I click, I know that it's going to get another curved line. And then I click again. And what I want to do this time is I'm going to click and drag so I have handlebars. But what if I want to make a straight vertical line that goes straight down? If I were to click and just down here, I know that it's going to bend a line because I have those handlebars. So what you do, and this works in Photoshop and Photopea, is if you hold down your Alt key on your keyboard and you click on the anchor point that you just created, you have to click on the anchor point, not the handlebars, it breaks that handlebar off on this side so that whenever I click again, it's going to make a straight line. Okay, so that can allow you to create some pretty cool paths. Now, I like the 2 paths that I've made, so I'm going to hit escape, and it will allow me to start a new path. So let's try the star because I think that's the next easiest one. So we're going to come down to our star tool. Whoops. I accidentally dragged my mouse. I was trying to adjust my screen. So I'm going to click on my star tool with my pen, and I click, and I'm going to click on the corners and the anchor points. And now I have a really cool outline of my star. Now, when I close it out, it no longer is a line because the original beginning and the end touch each other. So now that's going to be considered a form. Form is also the same thing as a shape. This time, let's try to get a little bit more creative. I'm going to start, let's start on the lower left side. I don't have to hit escape because that path is already closed out, so it knows that I have to start something new. And I'm going to come up here to where my line is still pretty straight. Now I know that I start to get a curve up here. And the goal when you're using anchor points is to use as few anchor points as possible. So I'm going to click up here and I'm going to drag across. And then I'm going to come down here kind of equal to the anchor point I created the first or before that. Well, that was pretty good. And then I'm going to click down on the corner and I'm going to come back across and finish it. Okay, if you guys did that, good job. Give yourselves a pat on the back. So now let's use our hand tool and we're going to move over. Let's try the speech bubble. So I'm going to start right here because I think that looks like the easiest. And I think I'm going to consider this like 6 o'clock. And I'm going to consider that this would be like 9 o'clock. So I'm going to click and drag and adjust that. Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to try to click on 12 o'clock. We're going to see if this works. Oh my goodness, that works awesome. Okay. Now, the reason I didn't have to drag is because I already had handlebars. I don't have handlebars right here. So when I click, if I want this line to be a curve, I know that I have to click and drag. Okay. And because I have handlebars, the next time I click, it's going to go down that way. And then I don't have handlebars, so I know I've got to kind of bend this out. Now, this is one of the situations where we want to change direction because I need my curve to kind of go opposite of what the reflection would be. It's actually going to kind of go parallel with the curve I just made. So I'm going to hold down my Alt key to break that handlebar. And then I'm going to come up here and I overlap my original anchor point. And when I dragged my mouse this way, it made a really nice little angle right there. Okay, very good. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to try the heart. And the heart is probably one of the more challenging pen tool exercises. Remember that the goal here is to use as few anchor points as possible. Let's see if I can do, oh no, I didn't do that one. So we're going to backspace and we're going to start over. Okay, so I think if I angle it right about here, maybe I can get it. Let's see. I'm going to come down here. Oh, that's pretty good. And now I'm going to bend it. I'm going to change my direction. So I've got to Alt and click on that anchor point. I'm going to try to keep my anchor points kind of in the same locations. If it's not perfect, I can adjust that in a little bit. And I'm going to come up here and click. And then I'm going to come back here. Now, I know that this has to be a bend, and so hopefully it's going to read that handlebar and it's going to put this in the right spot. So I'm going to click. Oh, and it didn't. So what I'm going to do is I have to drag my mouse down just a little bit to make that path work for what I'm going to do. Okay, let's Control 0 so we can see our work. So I've outlined all my paths, and I noticed that in a couple of different places I need to make some small adjustments. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use my first paths that I did earlier as my examples. I'm going to click on this first path. I have two other tools that I can use with my anchor points and my paths that I create. In Photoshop, the two icons look the exact same as they do in Photopea, and the keyboard commands are the same. They're both the letter A. Okay, so I click on my path selection tool, and what the path selection tool does, whoops, is it is just going to, maybe, let's go to the direct selection, see how that works. In Photoshop sometimes, or Photopea, sorry, sometimes they seem to work backwards. So if I click on an arrow, I can come up here and I can click and I select that path. And if I click on an anchor point, let's see if I can just get one anchor point with my direct selection tool. If I click on that anchor point, it will allow me to edit one anchor point after I've already made it. So I'm going to click on shape 2 and show you what that would look like here. If my curve right here is bent too far, or maybe I need to adjust a handlebar, I can do that. Now in Photoshop, it's done a little bit differently. We can hold down the control key while we're actually doing the pen and create it. Let's see how that works in Photopea. Let's hit escape. And let's try with our pen tool. And I'm going to click. And I'm going to click again, and we're going to click and drag. And now I want to move this a little bit before I make my next one. So I'm going to hold down the control key, and look at that, guys. It works just like in Photoshop. If I hold down the control while I'm using the pen, while I'm still on that anchor, it will allow me to use, and in class we call it the bossy arrow. It's the white one. It's the direct selection tool. So as long as I do it while I've got that anchor point selected, I can use the control key to move these around because it's a bossy tool. For the lessons today that we're going to do and for the alphabet, we want to only apply strokes to our shapes. If I really wanted to go back and fill this in with a different color, I could, with my path selected, go in and fill in a new color or a new pattern into that path. But right now I just want to have the fill as nothing. Now I want you guys to stop right here and I want you to save your work, and you are going to name this your name and then demo, and I want you to turn this in on the assignment that let's see, what is that assignment called? Let's see if I can find it real quick. Maybe. Okay, so when you guys have the assignment that says learning the pen tool, it should be number 9. I want you to save this as your name and demo and a PSD, and you're going to turn it in. Okay, and that's great. That's exactly what we need to do, but we also have to do one more step that is a major part of this lesson, and that is taking a screenshot of your anchor points. The reason that we do a screenshot, again, I want to see that you're taking the fewest number of steps we can possibly do, and so I need to see your anchor points. Hopefully this is going to work. If I use my path selector, which is the black arrow, and I draw a box, oh goodness, it's only going to let me do them one at a time. Oh, what a bummer. Let's see if I can do it this way. Okay, if I select all of my layers, and then let's see what's going to happen. Still, it's not giving me much options. Let's try the direct selection tool. Photopea has been a fun adventure learning to use the pen tool with this. Okay, so for whatever reason, it's not giving me the anchor points that I just saw a while ago before I started doing this lesson. But you would want to show at least your path so I can kind of get an idea of what you are doing. Now, if you're having trouble making something and you want to share, I'm going to try this one more time just because I feel like maybe I'm going to get lucky. It's just not going to work. If you are, oh, is it working now? No, it's not going to work. But if you're having trouble with something and you need help, send me a picture of what you're working on, and I can kind of help you guys out with that. Now, for number 9 for today, I made a lesson called Remote Users Learning on Photopea, and it was a little Christmas greeting card that you made. And so we're kind of, what we did is we just flip-flopped the remote learners with the in-person learners. So while you guys are doing this next step, they are going to be going back and doing the greeting card that you guys made. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a preview of the lesson here so we're all here on this video. We're going to go to File, and we're going to create a new file, and we want, this time we want it to be 10 inches by 10 inches. Let's make sure that we are on inches because pixels does us no good. We're going to hit create. Now, what you are going to do is going to be a little bit challenging, and it's going to get some of you out of your comfort zone but you guys, I promise you're going to be fine. What we're going to do is we're drawing the alphabet in cursive, and we're only going to worry about the lowercase letters and your signature. So when we work with the pen tool, I'm going to start with the letter A. If I have the letter A, I know it's going to bend out like this. Ooh, that's a really wide stroke for a letter that I'm going to do. And I know that I want the bottom side to curve here, but I know I need to come up and then back down to make the little tail. If I click right here, it's going to close out that shape, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click as close to that anchor point as I possibly can. I'm going to bend it just a little bit, and then I'm going to come down here and loop it out. And that's really, really difficult to see because my stroke is so wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably change it. Let's see what 10 looks like. Let's take out that fill. 10's a lot better. Let's see, maybe 5. Oh, why does it keep doing that to me? Let's try this again. Okay, it's kind of how this day has gone. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to click, then I'm going to come back here to make the little tail. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. Let's start over. It is okay to start over as many times as you need to, because I guarantee you that in-person learners are doing it too. I'm going to change that, so I'm going to break that handle right there. I'm going to come up here as close to the anchor point as I can. There we go. And now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to bend this line out. Now that looks like a terrible, terrible A. But what I can do with my direct selection tool, and I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see, is I'm going to click on these anchor points and try to make some adjustments to some of these. Oh, we're getting better. Now I've got this weird corner thing that's happening, and I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm just going to bring that there and touch it. And so that looks like a pretty decent letter A. Okay, I'm going to show you an example for the letter B. And because this is actually still a line, because nothing touches and closes out, I'm going to hit escape. And so for the letter B, got to get back to my pen tool. I'm going to click, and then the next time I click is going to be up here at the top. And then I'm going to come down here and click again. I'm going to bend it out like this. Now I've got to change directions, so I'm going to hold down Alt, and I'm going to break that little handle, and I'm going to come up here, and goodness, not too much of an angle. There we go. So I am going to make that adjustment right there. One of the things I want to make sure that you do not do, everybody understand, do not do this on your alphabet. I always have those students who want to beat the system. And so what they do is they go click, 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 and they keep coming up here. I'm going to make the letter F. I know I'm kind of exaggerating so you guys can see, but they come up here and they do this nonsense. Well, you guys already know that that's a lot of extra anchor points that we do not need. And so you would not get credit for this letter because you really didn't do it like you were supposed to. Now, the cool thing is oh, goodness, let's undo that. The cool thing is I could go in and I could try to kind of mess around with the direct selection tool and move some stuff around. But I promise you guys, if you do that, you're going to end up with so much more time on your hands than if you just made the letter correct to begin with. So here's the example of what the F would actually look like. If I come up here and I click, I'm going to come down here now, and I'm going to loop it back over. So that is a much prettier cursive T, or I'm sorry, cursive F than the one I did over here. So I would get credit for this one, but not this one. Now, when I finish doing the alphabet lesson, I am going to go to my layers panel, and I want to make sure that I've selected all of my layers so I can at least see the paths. I may not be able to see the anchors right now, which I'm not really sure why it's not working, but I definitely want to be able to at least see those paths. So I see the little lines there. I want to take a screenshot of this and turn this one in as well so that I can help you. There's a lot of you who are not turning in your screenshots, and when you don't turn in a screenshot, it's really, really difficult to see if you don't know what you're doing or you're just being lazy. So this little demo for the alphabet actually goes to the number 10 alphabet lesson. And if you need help seeing kind of how to make the letters using the pen tool, I made a really quick video where I created each of the letters in the alphabet and I demonstrated kind of where the anchor points go. The one frustrating thing for me that I'm really struggling with Photopea, that Photoshop has and Photopea doesn't, is in Photoshop we can make a line and then we can come up here and convert that anchor point to something else. So far, I have not had any luck making that a hard angle. It's only letting me do some weird stuff. So, if I needed to make that a sharp angle, what I would have to do is come in here and adjust that. Let's see what happens if I come down here with my pen tool. I just had one idea that I was thinking about when I was demonstrating. And I come out here, if I'm still on my pen tool and I click on that anchor point and then I hit Alt, oh my goodness, look at that. Okay, that is exactly what I want to do to convert anchor points. Now up here I saw on the letter A, let's see if I can get back to that letter A. Which path was my letter A? Oh goodness. I think it's this one. There we go. Okay, so up here at the top, I see that that line kind of shoots out. What that is it's making the corners go really far out. So I can come up here. Whoa, I hate when it fills it in. Why does it keep doing that? I can come up here and I can adjust my corner right there, and it won't give me those ugly, ugly stabbing lines. Now, if I wanted to adjust this a little bit better. Now I think it's going to let me. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, this is the best this lesson's going to get. So if you have questions about the alphabet, that is what you guys are going to be working on tomorrow. If you have questions about the pen tool in general, please email me, send me screenshots. This has been a bit of a challenging lesson for this one, but the pen tool is so important in graphic design that I really want you to learn it. Okay? I hope this helps. Y'all have a great day.